Hmm. You know, I was thinking a think, and I figured I'd just go ahead and share this information with you. Um, I'm the founder of Modem Solutions, and Modem Solutions, or Modem stands for money and wisdom. So one of my favorite passages in the Bible around money is that money and wisdom can get you almost anything in life, but wisdom is the only thing that can save your life. So I've actually kind of created this foundation of modem and what it means when I work with clients or when I give presentations or seminars or whatever it may be. And I figured I'd really kind of unpack this a little bit more for you so that you can understand at least where I'm coming from as it relates to money, and just knowing that, yeah, really just kind of where I'm coming from as it relates to this. So that being said, the first pillar is empathy. And the reason why empathy is so important, um, because empathy happens when we have a unique desire to intimately see someone else, right? Meaning that we're not being selfish in the way that we're engaging in a relationship with someone. We're being other centered, right? And when we're other centered and we're using empathy, and when we literally want to be in tune and to understand someone else's position, we do what? We listen, right? And what's fascinating about listening and the listening skill is that people know they are listened to when not only when we hear them, but when we act on what they've stated, right? It's just like if you go to a restaurant and you tell somebody, hey, I don't want cheese on my burger, and they come back and there's cheese on your burger, or with your spouse or with a relationship or whatever it may be, they heard you, but they weren't listening because they were so focused on everything that was going on in their mind, um, or just kind of distracted on other things. They heard sound, but they weren't listening. When we listen corresponds with an action, right? So when we're being so uniquely in tune and in focus with someone else and how they feel and what's going on with them, we listen. Listening doesn't happen because we go in and listen. Listening happens because we legitimately care about the other person and really want to know. So there's an element of care and compassion and things that kind of goes into this element of listening. And when we listen, people know that we're listening because of the way that we respond and the way that we act to what they're communicating, that tells them that what this interaction that we're having is not about the other person, but it is really about me and what I'm sharing at this point in time, which is absolutely beautiful thing. And when we listen, think about it. When someone listens to you, does that make you feel special? Right? So that actually leads to this whole notion of connection. When we're empathetic, when we lead with compassion and we're trying to understand and we can feel and we respond compassionately by listening and listening through our action, then we're able to foster connection, right? And like meaningful, trusting connection. Because we connect with people that calls for us to feel listened to. And when it's done in the right spirit, not because I'm trying to get anything or I'm trying to manipulate you or trying to get you to buy something, whatever it may be, I'm listening because I authentically want to know you, where you stand, what your experiences are, how those things feel. That fosters connection. And then when we have connection, we have trust. I'm gonna write that there. Trust, right? And there's nothing more powerful than to be in a relationship where this mutually beneficial thing is happening, that we have connection, and you continuously listen, or I continuously listen to you, and I continue to respond and enact in ways that's favorable and that's of mutual benefit, done over time, leads to connection, and connection leads to trust, right? And when we have trust, something powerful happens because we can give up power when we have trust. And then that leads to wisdom, right? When we can give up power, when we have trust, we can give up power. We don't have to put up barriers. We don't have to protect ourselves. Therefore, we can engage in this connection and listening and empathy piece in such a way where we can literally be vulnerable. And when we're vulnerable, we can receive wisdom. We can receive knowledge. We can receive input. We can actually receive correction because we know that the person or the people or the community that we engage with is based on trust, connection, listening, and empathy. So I don't have to put up the walls, right? And when we do that, we get down to this element of wisdom, because wisdom is what we can receive from our communities and others. And what this is becomes even more powerful. We have so much trust where we know that we're unconditionally loved, that we can receive wisdom from outside of our circles. Now that's the real stuff. That you are so confident in your deep, meaningful connections that you don't have to put up the facade that you're all powerful, that you don't need information, that you don't need people, that you can receive information from elsewhere. And when we have wisdom, that leads to something that's very important here. It leads to health, right? And that health piece of it could be cognitive. It can be emotional. It can be physical. Sorry about my handwriting. It can be relational, right? But you have good health, right? And then when we have good health, where we're sound cognitively, emotionally, physically, relationally, it helps us to have abundance when it comes to money. And not just an abundance amount of money, but to have a healthy relationship with money in such a way that we feel it and we interact with it abundantly, regardless of how much we have, because we're already whole in the strength of our relationships. So when I work with people, when I give presentations, when I do things or whatever it may be, I always start from this framework. Lead with empathy, value connection, right? Receive wisdom, and then optimize money abundantly, like in this order. What we do, though, on the flip side, is that we start with money, and if we have it, a lot of times we don't have a healthy relationship with money. And if we don't have a healthy relationship with money, money gives us this perception of power and control. And when we feel as if we have power and control, we don't have the wisdom that we think that we actually have. Therefore, we actually block all types of influences because we don't really receive wisdom. We have power and control because we have money. And if we have power and control because we have money, we lack trust. And if we lack trust, right, that completely voids out connection. And if that voids out connection, we don't have the capacity to listen or to be listened to. So that voids out. And then this empathy piece is just non-existent. Because this is literally based on, then at that point, a power dynamic and a power struggle, which is why so many people struggle with this thing that is money, whether it's individually, whether it's personally, whether it's within a context of your employment and your job. The where of what you're rooted in isn't rooted in empathy, compassion, connection, listening, wisdom, trust, health, and an abundance of health that leads to a healthy relationship with money and abundance mindset. What we do on the flip side is that we skip all this other stuff and we think that money is going to get us there. And that's why people who start here and then try to work backwards end here with this power struggle. And then they think that, oh, well, if I just acquire more money, then that's going to alleviate all this other stuff. And it just doesn't work that way. Empathy is actually more powerful than power. That's how you move communities. That's how you change generations. That's how you change yourself, right? Okay. So I just wanted to share this construct with you because this is the foundation in which Modem Solutions has been created. This is the spirit in which we're going to present financial information as being literally the last thing. We're going to talk about other things emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, as it relates to money and how those things connect. But in order to have money and to really have abundance, it isn't necessarily the material perception of abundance, but it's an abundance mindset in terms of how you engage with money. Because you can have millions of dollars and still be operating in scarcity, which is a crazy way of thinking. You can have hundreds of million dollars and still have a scarcity mindset. Or you can have $100,000 and have an abundance mindset and have healthy relationships, which really for most people is the aim in life. We're social creatures, all right? So I just wanted to take a moment and share with you my philosophy on the relational side that integrates with money. And it takes on so much more than just what I presented here, but I just thought it would be fascinating to actually kind of go over this and with you on my page. And I hope that you enjoyed this. And I hope that it triggers you to think a little bit differently. You have more power than you think. You just need to own it. But the power doesn't come from the power source that we think it comes from. It comes from this thing called empathy. So if you haven't had an opportunity, definitely like, share, subscribe if you found some value in this. If you get an opportunity, go check out my TED Talk. I don't know why it's escaping me right now. Financial Empathy, the story beneath the numbers. You can find that on YouTube, so definitely check it out. And if you like what you hear here, check out a video that I recently posted with a researcher at the University of Georgia on what you need to teach your kids about money, and more specifically investing, and why that's a powerful tool, especially for Black households. And lastly, if you enjoyed this stuff, definitely follow me on Instagram. And my Instagram handle is @Modem Solutions. Y'all take care. Bye.